Part of motocross is having to deal with the elements. Mother Nature unloaded on the third round of the AMA US Motocross Championships. 125 points leader Steve Lampson welcomes the rain. 250 points leader Ricky Carmichael has struggled under these conditions. Can the maturity and experience of the French invasion tighten the 250 points race? Stay tuned. From Mount Morris, Pennsylvania this afternoon, the finest motocrossers in the world are coming up next. Hello everyone, Art Ekman along with David Bailey and Davey Combs from High Point Raceway in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania for the Chevy Trucks AMA Motocross Series round number 3. And as you can tell from the fans and the bikes, it is a mess. Nathan Ramsey of Pro Circuit Kawasaki looking over a mud bath of a track. Our Suzuki point standings, Steve Lampson's win at Hangtown Classic gave him a 3-point lead over Stefan Roncada. Travis Pastrana in the 4th position is only 23 points off the lead. Our colleague Davey Combs talked earlier with our points leader.
Well, just a year ago, it probably seemed unlikely that we would ever say Steve Lampson's name again as the top of the national championship point standings. But here it is in 2000, and he's our points leader once again. Steve, you're back with a vengeance this year.
Yeah, I started out pretty good in the season, and I won last weekend in Sacramento. So I'm coming here leading the points, and I'm going to just really not think about that. I'm going to just try to put my head down and ride each moto smart.
Obviously, today it's going to be a mud race as well. Do you consider yourself a wet weather rider?
Yeah, I don't mind it really. I mean, I like it dry a little bit better, but you know, the mud's fine with me, and I can ride it well. So I'm going to just go out there and do it to it.
All right. After the first 4 motos of the 125 National Championship, Steve Lampson's your points leader. Today's got to do it in the mud.
Not only does the 2-time 125 champion have extra challenges to deal with on the track, but his crew and backup crew like Nick Ways, they have to double time it, getting the bikes ready for these conditions. Let's take a look now at the Suzuki starting grid. Stefan Roncada currently 2nd in the points, not that far away. Talon Bolin, used to this kind of weather, running over in Europe. Pastrana and the points leader Lampson. Don't rule out Casey Johnson, who's tied for 5th in points. And Fonseca having his problems this year. Then there's people like Justin Buckle, who finished 20th overall in the last round at Sacramento. They're hoping that these conditions aren't to his favor, and the other riders in contention don't like it, David Bailey. I mean, there's a lot to adjust to here today.
The thing that I like about the mud is that the start isn't that important. It is for vision, but you can get a guy that rides well in the mud that can take off last and carve his way to the front. Some guys psychologically just can't deal with the mud. Other guys have fun in it, and that's the best way to approach it. Go out there and try to have fun. Here's a look at the track. Same design as always. You see the start makes a big left-hand sweeper. Davey's going to take us around some of the tougher sections before it got real bad.
Well, this will be the first right-hand corner. There's always a pile up here, especially when it's muddy. You pick a line, stay in it.
Listen to how hard Davey's got to breathe and how much work he's got to do out here with these conditions. He's normally out of breath, but it's a lot harder today.
This is probably the steepest hill here at High Point. Just like get on the gas, get your back end over the bike, get the wheel to hook up, pick your way through the ruts. I can't describe how tiring this is. Down the bottom. Over to the backside here. This used to be a creek. Got filled in.
If this blurry camera lens is bothering you like it is me, this is as good as it gets.
Get up the top here, hairpin. Choose a line and right back down into it. This might be the toughest off camera of all, because it's just slick as ice. Then you got the added weight of all the mud. It really pushes you off balance. You know, a stuck rider like that, you got to work your way around. Hey, there's Scott McGill in the new Cannondale. Up close look. He didn't like that.
It gives us a good idea if you're in mid-pack that you just don't have enough tear-offs in your goggles to be able to see. And look at this, tear-offs are even being used so the mud won't cake on his helmet. Davey's got some trouble at the gate. Let's check in with him.
The 125 race is on the starting gate, but we already have some drama. title contender Brock Sellards, FMF Honda, broke down on the starting line, and he had to run back to the pits real quick to replace the entire moto. The problem is he was running out of time. Now, the AMA always offers a parade lap to anyone who wants to go out and sight the track. None of the riders wanted to take it until his Sellards FMF Honda teammate Casey Lytle realized that he could buy some time for the number 18 bike. So Lytle went out there, kind of sacrificing a good start on his own part because his bike will be covered with mud. At least Sellards will have a chance to go out there and race for the championship.
You're right, Davey. That was really a wonderful thing that Casey Lytle was able to do. And it was also a good sacrifice on your part going out on that track. As we take a look at the race format, each division with 2 motos each, the combined results from each moto go together to create our winner. And our first 125 is underway. It's the Husqvarna of Robbie Skaggs getting the whole shot. Nathan Ramsey looked so concerned, got a good start along with Pastrana and Lamson, but taking its first toll early before that first turn. Skaggs number 115, Lamson number 6. Pastrana is right behind Lammy.
And this is Pastrana company. He seems to do well when he hears the crowd.
Here comes Pastrana on the right side of your screen. Travis Pastrana moving into second place in front of Steve Lamson. And now he's gunning for Skaggs. Incredible balance by Pastrana. Watch the off-camber. And he takes him on the off-camber.
Wheeling all the way up that hill, getting to the back of the seat. That's one of the hills Davey rode up. Said you need to be on the back of the seat, try to get that tire to hook up. If you're on a wheelie, you're hooking up. Already Travis is pulling away, and he should be able to pull a tearaway and have clear vision now.
Being out in front in a race like this is a tremendous advantage, more so than usual.
Well, the first lap would be a little bit tough for him since these guys didn't take the parade lap like Davey said. He's going to have to fish his way around. Lamson looks like he just went by Skaggs into second. But Travis is going to come around and see all these water puddles first. So the opening lap, he's got to be a little careful. The slick spot right there. Once everyone makes a lap, the best line and the worst lines will uncover themselves, and he should be okay.
Pastrana around that corner first. Here's Lamson. Number 40 is Matt Walker out of the state of Georgia. This is only his second race since coming back from a Supercross injury where he broke a wrist and bruised a spleen. Pastrana is our leader. Lamson in second. We'll be right back.
Meet Martin Licious, Storm Chaser. Some head for the basement. He heads for a Chevy S10. It's got advantages over Ford Ranger, like better fuel economy, a bigger bed, and standard four-wheel anti-lock brakes on every model. Because if you want to outrun Mother Nature, you need every advantage you can get. Chevy S10, like a rock.
With a Suzuki RM under you and Team Suzuki behind you, there will be absolutely nobody in front of you. Just ask Suzuki's Greg Albertine, 1999 AMA 250 Motocross National Champion.
Beauty, adventure, drama. All these and more can be yours in the wonderful world of art. And with this free art test from Art Instruction Schools, you can find out if you have the interest and desire needed to become a serious art student. To get your free art test without cost or obligation, call this toll-free number. Don't delay. Call this toll-free number now. Call 1-800-344-8300.
The Chevy Trucks AMA Motocross Series is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. And by Honda, the company that defines performance on two wheels. Performance first. and by Suzuki, makers of innovative motorcycles and ATVs. Welcome back to High Point Raceway, a muddy raceway right now as Travis Pastrana in the first 125 moto has taken the lead. There's Lamson, number 6, and Matt Walker, number 40. Also, Kelly Smith of KTM is moving up the ranks. Lamson trying to negotiate. And look at that, Matt Walker takes the advantage away from Steve Lamson. Lammy loves the mud, but Walker out of Georgia also probably works out in a lot of rain as well.
Had no problem getting to by. I think Lamson might be trying to be just a little bit too careful right now. I'll never forget my first really bad mud race. I was trying to be so careful, I didn't fall. But the guy that beat me fell 4 or 5 times. So you just have to take your chances a little bit and attack it and be more aggressive. The more you're on the throttle, the more the rear tire will sling all the mud off in between those knobbies and you can get a bite.
7-11 right behind Lamson is Talon Volan on his Pro Circuit Kawasaki. Walker doing a little dance right there.
And another little front end wash right there. You just got to get comfortable with the fact that you're going to get out of shape 4 or 5 times a lap.
Here's Volan to the inside. He makes the pass into third. Talon Volan, who says he wants that championship this year.
He's also experienced in the mud. Let's take another look at what happened to Lamson. See this little off camber right here? He's riding near the edge of the racetrack. His front end washes out. He had to put his foot down, lost his momentum. And Matt Walker, feet up, just attacking this downhill, aggressive. Got the front end light. Then as Volan goes by, watch Lamson. He doesn't want to follow his line, so he cuts across. You see Volan splashing through that puddle. If he'd have been following him, he'd have gotten his face splashed, and you can't see.
And Lammy went down during that replay. Steve Lamson now was running in 4th, as you see. Has to get back into the battle.
You see, just like snow banks, they've got these big mud banks to the edges of the racetrack. They've done such a great job to move away all the bad mud and give these guys a chance to try to get through this track without getting stuck.
Oh, Travis Pastrana having a heck of a time out in front now as Matt Walker starts to pick up time on him.
Now, this is what we talked about at the start, before the moto started, guys that would have an opportunity in conditions like this, guys that would normally be just outside the top 10. The bike doesn't make as much of a difference here, so the privateers have a better chance. It's how they attack this mentally rather than mechanically.
Who can forget back in 1991 when it was the worst conditions we ever saw? Sacramento race, 2 privateers won. John Dowd his very first 250 victory, and Doug Henry his first 125 National Outdoor.
Matt Walker still attacking this track, making up a little bit of time on Travis. Gets out of that dip right there, jumps up onto the flat. He can see Travis up there and learn possibly a little bit from him, but he's just outside of that roost zone, so he still has his vision. You can see that, oh, Volan's gone down. That is a slick spot. That's where Travis got sideways in the opening lap.
And now Volan has the tough chore of getting the bike upright and getting back on the track.
Well, plus, as soon as you touch anything other than that clean grip, it's just about impossible to get a hold of the handlebars again. I've ridden here back in 1983 when it was so muddy I couldn't turn the throttle because my hand would slip on the grip.
Volan shaking the mud off that left hand. And here is our leader, Travis Pastrana, number 199. It's about the only number plate we'll see for a while.
Travis has got tearaways flying, rags flying. Those rags he's got are just in case his hands were to get muddy, he can grab one of those and clean up again.
Braving these elements is our own Davey Coombs, who's in the mechanics area. And I'm sure he has a rather unique vantage point as Travis does a little slip and run there. Davey?
Down here in the mechanics, everyone knew it was going to be a tough day. Already the mechanics are seeing the riders pull in for new gloves, new goggles. No surprises with Travis Pastrana out front. However, kind of a pleasant surprise with Matt Walker and Kelly Smith, a couple semi-privateers up there in the top 3. As for Volan, Roncada, and the other championship contenders, we've seen them both fall down. Steve Lamson fell down right behind us. It's going to be a big changeover in the points if it keeps up like this.
It's a big possibility if our spotters are correct. They're telling us now that Pastrana is down. Matt Walker's our new leader, number 41. Still in third is Kelly Smith on the KTM. KTM has never won a national outdoor. And right there's the yellow flag, and he is past Pastrana, moving into second place. Pastrana just on the lower section of our screen. You see him hop into the action right there.
So it looked like he might have gone down the same section. That looks like Billy Payne, split fire rider. Pretty good, huh? I could pick that out.
Boy.
A couple more laps into this race, I wouldn't see any green there.
Yeah.
But Travis went down the same place that Boland went down. And that's just like ice. Any place you see that light colored dirt where it's shiny down to that hard surface, it's so slick.
And the battle is on. Pastrana once again moving into second place in front of number 41, Kelly Smith.
That's what I was talking about. Now, Travis was leading. He went down. Kelly got around him, but he's faster. He's attacking the track more. He's already able to get his position back. If he keeps riding like that, he should be able to catch Walker. But Walker looked pretty strong, too.
Kelly Smith might learn a thing or two behind Travis Pastrana. Matt Walker's our new leader. Back in a moment.
Tuscarora Mill is Loudoun's favorite restaurant and is also a great place for business and social gatherings. Whether it's an all-day corporate event or a rehearsal dinner, Tuskie's has the perfect banquet facilities. Choose from 2 rooms, the wine cellar or the garden room, both equally spacious and charming. And let the Tuskie's staff take care of all your banquet needs, from theme dinners to wine tastings. For groups of 15 or 150, call Tuscarora Mill, a Loudoun favorite for over a decade.
Loudon Motorsports is proud to announce that they now feature Suzuki motorcycles and ATVs.
They have great products. They have wonderful on-off-road bikes. They've got great four-wheelers that are perfect for anything and everything you need to do around the farm or just plain.
Expanding the business, Loudon Motorsports now carries all the Suzuki Cruisers, sport bikes, motocross bikes, dirt bikes, and all-terrain vehicles. You've got to visit the showroom with all the flashy 2000 model Suzukis, including the GSXR 750 sport bike. Visit Loudon Motorsports and Power Equipment in Leesburg on Catoctin Circle.
Tonight on ESPN at 7:30, NASCAR trucks roll in the Kroger 225. At 10, Baseball Tonight, and at 11, Sports Center. On ESPN2 at 6:30 RPM tonight. At 7:30, the Hot Rods rev it up. And at 9:30, it's Major League Soccer action, Tampa Bay at LA. And on ESPN Classic at 7, the Major League Baseball Pennant Series. At 9, it's a Duke Carolina Classic. And at 11, Classics NHL. Do you have all the ESPN networks?
Welcome back to the early stages of our first moto for the 125s here at High Point Raceway. While we're away, number 41 Kelly Smith has moved in front of 199 Travis Pastrana. As you see our field summary, Matt Walker still our leader, Kelly Smith in second, Pastrana in third, and Skaggs has moved up to fourth on the Husqvarna. There's number 26 Ron Cotta trying to get back up into the top 5.
Putting a little pressure on Lamson now.
Oh, Matt Walker, our leader, is down, David.
That's on an uphill, too. Look at the frustration. I think he's overheating. All that smoke pouring out, that's probably the water out of the radiator. Well, not probably, it is. Imagine putting a whole bunch of mud in the radiator of your car. It's going to overheat. That's what happens to these bikes. Once they get clogged, they don't get cleaned out again until they go back to the pits.
You saw Robbie Skaggs, number 115, and there is Ron Cotta, 26, moving up the ranks on Steve Lamson, number 6. Lammy really having trouble with that off camber, and Ron Cotta moves in front of Lammy.
Yeah, he was applying the pressure, and Lamson, it looks to me like he's just riding smart. I know Lamson can ride better in the mud. There's Walker getting a push. He's definitely out for the moto. Look at the frustration. I don't think he's hurting. He's just going, man, I was leading it. Why did this have to happen? You've got to be smart. I think that's what Lamson's trying to do. He's trying to pick the best lines, stay out of the deep mud, out of the water puddles, try to stay out of the roost, and keep his equipment in good shape so he can go the distance.
The battle for third is on. Skaggs and Ron Cotta.
Well, Ron Cotta just takes advantage of Skaggs trying to get some vision.
And Skaggs coming right back on Stefan.
And he better stay ahead of him now because he's got no goggles. I don't think Stefan does either. Goggles only last about 2 or 3 laps, depending on the start you get. I'll bet you the mechanics are having a hard time trying to figure out which one is their rider. I've come to get a signal from a mechanic before and not gotten one because he didn't know what place I was in.
So here is the third leader of our race, Kelly Smith on the KTM. Doing a good job finding the right ruts. Let's go to the pitch.
Big change that lap, Steve. Kelly's in control.
Yeah, it is. We got a little lucky. Matt fell and Kelly took over, so there's like 4 minutes left plus 2 laps. Hopefully he can hold it on.
Can you tell anything about the bike? Does it look like the KTM's running good?
Yeah, the KTM's running awesome. You know, the water, it's really waterproofed well, and it's hooking up good.
Is Kelly going to stop for goggles by chance?
No chance. I don't think so. He said before the race he never likes to stop, so I definitely don't think now.
A lot on the line for KTM and Kelly Smith right now. That looks like Ron Cotta.
I can't figure out who he's chasing or if that's a lapped rider. They both seem to be moving along pretty good. Oh, it's Skaggs.
Skaggs and Ron Cotta going at it.
You can tell from the back. You certainly can't tell from the front with most of these guys.
Well, you see how difficult it is not only for the riders and the crews, but the scores, as well as the television camera guys. I don't know how they know where they're going.
They get used to these guys' riding style and colors, and they have to wait till they go by in some cases and see who they were, just as I had to do with Skaggs there.
So Robbie Skaggs, number 115, holding on to 3rd place. Ron Cotta up to 4th, Lamming in 5th. Talon Bolden coming back to 8th. We'll be back.
It's MLS. They've taken over the network. Get me the control room now.
This is Jones.
What are you doing
in my control room? We've got your anchors. We want Saturdays and our own show. We're the #1 sport in the world. We deserve to be seen.
I don't think I'm gonna make it, guys. I gotta go to the bathroom.
All right, who else has to go?
MLS Soccer Saturday.
Tampa Bay LA Galaxy tonight at 9:30 on ESPN2.
Welcome back to High Point Raceway. We are undercover, thank goodness, because as you see, the rain has really made a mess of the track. Here is our leader, number 41, Kelly Smith. Now, he can't be all too confident about holding on to this lead, especially what happened in St. Louis in the Supercross Wars a couple of seasons ago when he only had about 1/16 of a lap and he goes down. But he's still out in front, gets right back, keeps the machine running. Smart move by Kelly Smith.
Good recovery. He doesn't have that big of a lead over Pastrana, who's trying everything to close in on the last lap. You never know. With mud conditions like this, deep ruts, lapped riders, you never know. You can't really count on anything until you go. Watch what happens. This rut curves a little bit. His body weight's lean to the outside, so watch what happens. Bike goes one way, he goes the other.
And that last lap at St. Louis, it was Fonseca coming from behind, and Kelly Smith only had a turn and a little straightaway to go to win the race, and Fonseca came down on him, put Kelly out of the race.
You see he's struggling right here. Listen to the crowd. There's Pastrana. He's closing.
Oh, Travis Pastrana's on the move.
See how much faster he went around that corner at the top than Kelly did. So much different. These conditions change your line. The line changes so drastic from lap to lap because of all the other riders hitting the berm and moving it around.
Oh, this is great for the fans. On the final lap, Travis Pastrana putting the big challenge to Kelly Smith, and Kelly Smith looking for his very first victory.
This is the toughest off-camber on the whole track. Kelly washing out a little bit.
Here comes Pastrana to the inside. The lapper is there, though, and Travis Pastrana has stalled the bike.
I didn't see him do anything wrong. I mean, the lapper didn't get in his way, and the bike just quit.
And a frustrated Travis Pastrana, but a very happy Kelly Smith. The checkered flag for Kelly Smith.
Must have felt like an hour-long moto for Kelly. It takes so much energy. Your body, you weigh so much. Look at Travis. He just quit. What a frustrating day.
Kelly Smith's previous best moto finish was at Budds Creek, a second-place moto. But his best overall was a 6th at Millville.
Look at the emotion right there from Travis.
And Travis Pastrana is just fit to be tied. So Stefan Roncada moves up a notch. Skaggs moves up into 3rd. Steve Lamson a 4th, and Nick Way a 5th. But it's Kelly Smith with a smile on his face. Davey Coombs wading over to the victory stand to talk to Stefan.
And Stefan, that had been a tough one.
Well, I'm telling you, Davey, that was really bad out there. The first 2-3 laps, you know, the dirt was very wet and a lot of water in it, but as the race kept going, it got very, very sticky, and it was pretty hard to go up the hills.
Did you have any idea where you were?
No. I did at a point. I thought I was like way back, and the mechanic showed me like 7 on the board, and I was like, yeah, I got to come back stronger, you know. And I guess Travis crashed in the last corner down there, and I saw the yellow flag and went around, and I missed like there was a bunch of people in the same route, and I was like, yeah, I must have passed like a couple of people right there. So I was pretty stoked about that, you know. I think the main thing is to stay on 2 wheels in that kind of racing.
Good luck in the second moto.
Thank you, David.
Back in the day, Skaggs was on a Yamaha. His best moto was 6th. He finished in 3rd. So he continues to improve. And Kelly Smith, though, he's the one that took the checkers.
But Kelly, it was about a year ago. You almost won a national moto at Budds Creek, and Carmichael got you at the end. This time you came up through. You were the one who played the spoiler, and you get your first ever national win.
Yeah, you know, Ricky was there to, you know, take advantage of me, you know, doing a little tip over last year, and you know, this year I just, you know, like I said, stepped it up a little bit and, you know, got my way through the pack pretty good and kept her up on 2 wheels for the most part and, you know, pulled off the win in first moto.
How muddy is it out there? I mean, it looked bad from where we were down the mechanics area.
You know, it's tacking up a lot, and it's actually making it tougher. I would rather, you know, just be able to not have to pick a rut and, you know, wallow around through the mud, but, you know, it's going to be a tough second moto, too.
Yeah, one more moto to the overall. You got to get a start this time.
Yeah, you know, I didn't get a great start that first moto. It'd sure make it a lot easier if I could, you know, get a good jump and get out there ahead right in the way.
Hey, congratulations to you and the KTM team.
All right, thanks a lot, Davey.
Kelly Smith in good position for an overall 125 victory as the 250s now are thinking about how they're going to handle these conditions when we return.
If you added up all the hours you've spent boring out cylinders, building strokers, and setting up suspension, you'd have graduated from MMI by now, and you'd be getting paid for doing what you love. Call 1-800-994-3664 to find out how you can become one of the best technicians in the world. Motorcycle Mechanics Institute.
Introducing the first Suzuki ATV, available in your choice of manual or automatic transmission. The Quad Runner 500, an all-new Quad Master 500. The choice is yours.
Get a Suzuki Quad Master 500, 0 down, 9.9% financing. Hurry, this offer won't last.
Tomorrow, the road trip rips into L.A. Mark McGuire's looking to go deep, and he muscles the cards against Slaughter, Gary Sheffield, and the Dodgers. The ultimate road trip rolls on. Cardinals, Dodgers, tomorrow at 8 on ESPN.
Welcome back to High Point Raceway, where we're getting set for the very first moto for the 250s. The 250 riders are at the gate. There's David VillaMin. Right next to him is Kevin Windham. Windham, a good mud rider.
And a good starter, too, and obviously thinking he's going to get the whole shot because everyone's got tear-offs on top of their helmet, foam like David VillaMin's got on his face mask, and Carmichael as well, just like Windham. These guys are going with nothing on their helmet. Figuring they're just going to get the whole shot. You see some tearaways on the top of LaRocco's helmet. He knows he better put something up there.
Ricky Carmichael dominating, winning the first 3 straight motos with a 9-point lead over Turtelli. VillaMin, Windham, and Albertine, the top 5 in the points chase. Earlier, Davey caught up with David VillaMin.
Throughout the 250 Supercross season, it seemed like the one man who could consistently keep Jeremy McGrath in sight was Frenchman David VillaMin. Well, now he's doing it in motocross, showing that he has the talent to possibly win an American Championship outdoors as well.
Yeah, I did a good Supercross series, and I'm starting the outdoor series pretty good, and I won last week with 2-2 in Arlington, so I'm pretty confident, and today hopefully I can do the same.
Today it's muddy, though. That's a big change. Are you a mud rider?
Yeah, I was last year, but I don't know about this year, and I rode a lot last year in GP on the mud, and you know, mud is pretty difficult to say, you know, a good start, and you have to stay on 2 wheels and ride smooth, you know. Problem is goggles. If I can keep the goggles like 30 minutes would be great. And I think I can do good.
David VillaMin, his first visit to High Point. It's muddy, but he's going after the 250 National Championship.
Well, he's in a good position to do so as we take a look at the starting grid. The defending champion Albertine and Carmichael, our points leader. David VillaMin, what a challenger he's been. Robbie Reynard starting to put things together for Team Suzuki. Tortelli and Lusk from Team Honda. Lusk approaching the season rather conservatively. Windham looking for a big one here today. Mike LaRocco, you can't rule him out of conditions like this. And of course, earlier we mentioned number 16, John Dowd, who got his very first victory in the mud in Sacramento as a privateer on a Honda back in 1991. And we don't want to overlook a former 500 GP motocross world champion, Shane King, who's used to conditions like this. Plus, he's on the KTM 4-stroke. Almost set to go for the 250s in our opening moto. The fans are well prepared with the umbrellas, etc. The 30-second board is up. Let's see who can get the whole shot now as they go up this hill.
This is the first time this season they've started in dirt. And man, is it a mess down there. You're starting in a deep rut. It's muddy before you even get going.
Ricky Carmichael picking the inside. The gate is dropped. We're off and running now for the 250s. Coming up the hill. John Dowd, a good start. Ricky Carmichael pretty good, but he gets boxed out a little bit in the corner, and mayhem in that first corner. Let's try to pick out some of the riders now. There you see Tortelli, number 21. VillaMin is messed up in the first turn. Albertine, number 1, the defending champion, just leaving. Barry Hawk Jr., number 183.
I think back there to the right of the screen was LaRocco, so a lot of the favorites going down.
And out in front,
Carmichael already goes down.
And John Dowd takes the lead, number 16, Team Kawasaki.
Good time to pull that tearaway, get your vision clean. I don't think anyone's going to challenge him right away. That's the best start Lusk has had this season. He'll be happy to sit where he is. Stay just out of the roost of John, and John can ride the mud, no doubt about that. He can ride the sand at Southwick when the conditions get extreme, hot, rough, muddy or sandy. That's when John really shines. He's got the start he needs to go out and prove it today. That's the Cannondale 4-stroke right there, running third, so a great debut for those guys.
Keith Johnson on that new bike, number 81.
And then Windham got a pretty good start. Shane King on that 4-stroke art that we talked about is right in there behind Kevin in good shape.
Another look from the rear now of that first turn.
I think Tortelli got in there. It was hard to tell for sure. Got a little sideways. Japanese rider in the Honda got by on the inside, but look, there's Jeff Stanton. He's trying to help Tortelli get started. And there's Albertine, the defending champion, starting his day with a first-turn pilot.
Right now, number 16, John Dowd, is out in front, the third winningest active rider with 6 career 250 motocross wins.
Well, I talked about earlier in the 125 as John just works his way around, nice on the throttle. See the lead he's already opened up. Talked about the start not being that critical. Yes, it is for vision, but if you're a good mud rider like Tortelli and VillaMin, from what I hear, VillaMin, according to Ryan Hughes, faster in the mud than he is on the dry. He was in that first turn pileup. I'm anxious to see just how far he can climb back up.
What a great break this is for John Dowd, who started the season with a back injury coming out of Supercross and really wasn't healed up during the first 2 races. Keith Johnson, number 81, in 3rd place on the new machine. The Cannon performing well in the mud.
Getting a little heat from Kevin now. Kevin has to go out and use some of the mud. The main line is being used by Keith right now. That good dry line that's starting to tack up because the rain has actually stopped now and it's getting a little bit stickier. Kevin's got to go out there to dodge that roost and ride through all the mud.
Ezra Lusk in 2nd place, and Ezra, this is a breakthrough day for him after 2 8th-place finishes in the first 2 rounds. And there we have Johnson having trouble, and to the inside, Kevin Windham moves up another notch. Windham, this is the first opening moto at this racetrack on a 250, he hasn't got a whole shot. You mentioned earlier he was a great starter, but now he's moving up into contention.
Look how much he's got to fight the bike down that hill. Normally they come down that hill jumping 2 and 3, flying down that hill. And
oh, more tough times for Keith Johnson on the Cannondale. Picking the bike up, getting it back in order. We're going to have to take a break. Let's take a look now. John Dowd leading it with Luskin second, Kevin Windham in third, Shane King in fourth.
He's upside down. This one has to go like that.
Some children imagine that their father is the most powerful man in the world. Wonder where they got that idea. The 300 horsepower Silverado. The truck from Chevrolet.
You know, ideas and inventions come from people in all walks of life. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? If so, Invention Submission Corporation has information to help you get started. ISC is America's largest inventor service firm. Call now and learn how to submit your idea to companies through ISC's databank and apply for a patent. Even if your idea is just to improve an existing product, call for ISC's free information.
For your inventor's information, call 1-800-652-0101.
Here's a way to help your business with no risk at all. Just call for your free trial version of QuickBooks Pro, America's #1 best-selling small business accounting software. From the makers of Quicken, so you know it's easy to use. Want to write a check? You just start typing, and QuickBooks Pro fills in the rest. It shows you how much money you're owed and who owes it. It even prints invoices with your company logo. Call for your free QuickBooks Pro trial version now. There's no bill, no hassle, there's no risk. You can't do better than that.
The 250's underway in the mud from Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. This is our third round of the Chevy Trucks AMA Motocross Series. Greg Albertine, after getting caught in that first turn, David Bailey, is now in 15th place. And really, he came into this year as confident as ever that he was going to win the championship. This could set him back a bit.
yeah, it could, but he's also got to look at the fact that this is a 40-rider field. He took off last. He's all the way up to 15th right now, and in order to win 3 world championships, you got to encounter some mud along the way. So this is, we talked about the French guys being good in the mud. Albie's one of them as well.
Albie with a 4th at Glen Helen was much better than he really expected. In fact, he's ahead of last year's pace with the 6th at Sacramento. Here's David VillaMin, currently in 8th place, battling back just like Albie.
Now, for any viewers that have heard me talk about how much I enjoy watching VillaMin ride, coming up that hill back there, his throttle arm, his elbow was just about touching his knee. I mean, if you freeze frame this guy sometime, he looks so awkward out there, but he is starting to work his way up through the field, and Tortelli is hitching a ride with him.
And Robbie Raynard not far behind in the battle for 7th place.
Look at VillaMin just blast by Larry Ward right there, no problem. And that's Jeff Stanton to the left there, clapping for Tortelli. Stanton is everywhere. You'd think he had a bike out there to get to all these different vantage points.
So VillaMin holding off Tortelli for the moment anyway. Tortelli with 1 career win, and VillaMin getting his win last week at Sacramento.
You know, these guys probably almost wish it would rain a little bit more. Just, you see how it's one line it's getting in spots. Makes it pretty tough to pass. It hasn't been a problem for Tortelli or VillaMin so far, but VillaMin just makes his own line right there. Doesn't even worry about taking the groove, but the groove is really starting to develop, get dried out. It's a little tough to pass.
Wonderful balance by VillaMin as he tries to put weight back on the machine. Tortelli coming to the inside, but VillaMin got the traction coming up the hill.
Well, watch what he does right here. This is getting by the Japanese rider who's having a fine moto. VillaMin just jumps up to the outside, goes, well, there's not really a berm here, so I'll just pitch it, square it back across, cuts over the main line, just makes his own line. And it sets him up better for the corner at the bottom. He was able to come in wide, dive to the inside, and make his pass.
VillaMin and Narita having some problems there. Currently in 7th place. Regroups. He's having his best moto ever.
I'm sure he's listened to Jim Hawley somewhere along the way. The Japanese guys a lot of times come over and school under Jim Hawley, and Hawley was a great mud rider.
Tim Ferry, who won on this track as a 125 rider. Number 15. And VillaMin, 934.
See, VillaMin at that distance right there is just out of the roost of Ferry. As he gets closer, without goggles, he's going to have to take a different line and duck. It does no problem, just goes right around him. VillaMin is moving. I see what Ryan Hughes is talking about now. He said VillaMin is so fast in the mud.
And Ferry got sideways back there as VillaMin just tears away from him.
The thing I like about VillaMin's style, not so much as the looks of it and how his elbows might be a little low at times and climbing all over the bike, is that he's just so effective. He moves around. You can see what he means. Look at him. He's looking ahead all the way down that straightaway. He sees the riders down. He planned ahead. Doesn't lose any time as he goes through that corner. Most riders will come down and get into that berm and then realize there's a guy in the way, and they lose 5 or 6 seconds right there trying to get around.
Well, they certainly started the season hot with a third, a 4-4 at Glen Helen, and then the win with a 2-2 last week. There's Tortelli trying to make the move that VillaMin made. Look at the mud starting to clog up all over the bike and helmet of Tortelli. And Mike LaRocco.
Looks like he might have gone down there. He's just trying to get things cleaned off. It's so frustrating when you can't even you can't hold on to the handlebars. You can't turn the throttle. There's nothing to touch that's clean.
We've got a study in contrast right here. Ricky Carmichael, who started in 2nd, is currently in 17th. We said he didn't like to be a mud rider. And the mud riders from France, like Tortelli and VillaMin, who got poor starts, are up knocking on the door right now.
And there's Shane King coming down the hill. He's trying to hold off Tortelli.
Shane King moving into 5th spot in front of Tortelli. VillaMin is now in 4th. Shane King reached a point of frustration this year. His first American motocross experience. He was 15th overall. He's not used to this kind of finishes. And then in Sunday morning's qualifier at Sacramento, he hurt his back, but it looks like it's okay now as he's holding pretty true there against Tortelli. But still out in front. In fact, he's led the whole way is John Dowd. More 250 action from Mount Morris when we return.
They're coming. Tyson, Savarese. This June, the biggest names in heavyweight boxing, Galata, Norris, are taking Showtime by storm. It's the greatest month in heavyweight history. Holyfield, Ruiz, with a fight every weekend in June. Tua, Sullivan. The heavyweight storm is coming to America's #1 boxing network. Showtime, no limits.
I'm a do-it-myself kind of guy, but sometimes I need advice. When I do, I go to JT Hurst. The guys at JT Hurst are builders and contractors, not just salesmen, so they've got years of experience. When you've got a project, they'll take you from start to finish. They've got everything you need. And forget what you've heard about the big superstores saving you money. JT Hurst has the same prices. So when you want helpful advice and the price that's right, go to JT Hurst.
The day we took SportsCenter public, that was a red letter day.
The big news today, SportsCenter's IPO. Shares opened at $233.
Then they interviewed Steiner.
Charlie, how does it feel to be the #1 volume mover?
It's really incredible, especially when you consider we don't even own our own cameras. But that doesn't seem to be a problem. The investors seem to love us. I shouldn't be telling you this. They're talking to me now about having my own show.
The stock market is a fickle mistress.
I'm not even sure we own the rights to the name ESPN.
Welcome back to High Point Raceway. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Davey Coombs bringing you the action in a mudfest, really. But John Dowd has led this entire first moto for the 250s. That explains partially his clean gear. His last moto win was in 1997 at Binghamton, so he's hoping to pick one up here. For this week's Chevy Trucks Kawasaki bike setup, Let's see what Davey Coombs has in store.
When it's a mud race like this, not only is it a tough day for the riders, but for the mechanics as well. Anthony Paggio is preparing Larry Ward's bike. Anthony, how do you set it up for the mud?
Well, Davey, first of all, we start off by trying to keep the grips dry and keep the seat dry the best we can for sliding on the starts. Then we put some mud guards up here for the mud roost when it's hitting them, and sometimes it'll help if they fall and not get the handle grips into the mud. And then we use mud tires that'll clear out real well. They get packed up and it'll sling the mud out as well as have traction in the mud. We also put foam on everything, so when the mud gets squirted up in here, it doesn't pack in, and it still packs in, but this allows it a little maneuverability to be able to still be able to shift. And we also do it on the other side, which is the brake side. As far as suspension goes, our suspension technician usually stiffens everything, and you might run a little more preload because the mud weighs a lot and it's going to pack it down and make it ride down in the stroke. So we do a little fine tuning with suspension too.
So they have all that to do, as well as constantly keeping the bike clean, because you can't work on a muddy bike.
As the great mudder John Dowd continues to dominate this particular race. Here's the battle for fifth. Sebastian Tortelli, number 21, to the inside on Shane King. King's got more horsepower, but Tortelli's able to make the move. Tortelli in the fifth.
A puff of smoke coming off of Tortelli's bike every once in a while.
He's trying to clean his goggles off so he can see it. Here comes Shane King right back again. Oh, back and forth we go.
Well, I think King's been piling up all that roost on the top of Tortelli's helmet. He was trying to get some of the mud off, so it was getting heavy. The visor comes down in front of you, you can't see, and he just thought he had enough of a lead on him to be able to clear it. It didn't work.
Those four strokes do kick up a lot more roost, that's for sure, as we take another look at John Dowd, our leader.
He just got a little bit faster momentum everywhere. Not going to be able to get that lapper at the bottom of the hill, but here comes Tortelli again, paddling through there. It takes so much energy. You're doing a lot of that. Plus the front of your boots gets caked full of mud. It adds a couple of pounds to each one of them, and it wears your legs out.
Tortelli second here last year with a 3-2, and that's his mechanic, Shane Brew, looking on.
He's still paddling through that section. That main line now is starting to get really dry. As soon as you slip out of it, though, it's just 2 feet of mud.
Tortelli, a great conditioner. No question about that. Let's go down to Davey in the pits.
Shane, Sebastian got mixed up in that first turn crash.
Yeah, I guess he went down to the Rocco and Albie and stuff. I didn't see what happened, but the only good thing is VillaMin was in it, and Ricky crashed somewhere in the first lap too. So we just got in the top 10 now, so we just have to do what we can do.
It's a survival run out there.
Just got to finish, you know. Bike holds together, doesn't overheat, and get the maximum points we can and go to the second moto.
Good point. I didn't think about that. Most of the contenders were involved in that first crash melee. And, well, Ricky Carmichael, the points leader, was the only one, and he was in second place, and he's faded back.
Yeah, these guys get Tortelli, VillaMin, Albertine, they can all look around and see that the other guy was laying on the ground. Look at all the help for Tortelli. King goes by, nobody claps. Tortelli gets there, and everyone jumps out in the track. Come on, get up there.
Ezra Lusk in second place. And this has got to be a real thrill for him this year. After that devastating Supercross injury, had to sit out the entire season.
He looks pretty smooth. Standing up, finding his line. Look how clean he is.
A lonely ride in second place so far for Ezra Lusk in our first 250 moto. Back in '98, he won his very first outdoor victory for Team Honda. He held off Doug Henry in Moto 2 to capture that victory and go 2-1.
Hard on the power up that hill. Find that tiny little line right there all the way back down. Look at the balance it takes to just stay in a 4-inch wide line.
David, Lusk has a different method to ward off the mud there on his helmet.
Yeah, that looks like foam to me. I think they've got like air filter foam or something up there. And, you know, instead of having to tear that off later, the mud just sort of bounces off of it.
John Dowd still our leader with Ezra Lusk in second place and his teammate Kevin Windham in third. VillaMin up to fourth.
Meet the inspiration behind the truck. We thought of them when we gave it the most powerful V8 of any 4x4 pickup. We thought of them when we gave it a bigger extended cab than Ford F-150 or Dodge Ram. Maybe that's why Chevy Silverado owners think so highly of the truck. Now ranked most appealing full-sized pickup by J.D. Power and Associates. Silverado, it's the truck from Chevy.
Our 1999 season started in color, but it ended in black and white. The Suzuki GSX-R line, 1999 AMA Superbike Champion, AMA 750 Super Sport Champion, FIM World 600 Super Sport Champion, AMA.
Are you crying? Are you crying? There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball. Rogers Hornsby was my manager, and he called me a talking pile of pig slop. And that was when my parents drove all the way from Michigan to see me play the game. Did I cry? No, no. And you know why? No. Because there's no crying in baseball.
Baseball Tonight, every night at 10 and midnight on ESPN.
Welcome back. Look at what's happened here. Ezra Lusk, number 11, running second, went down. So Kevin Windham and 934 right there, David VillaMin have moved into second, third, and VillaMin has come from nearly last. He's got a shot to win this moto.
Incredible move by VillaMin as we see our leader, number 16, Dowd, but right behind him now, Kevin Windham, number 14, and David VillaMin. What a finish to this first moto. But it looked like John Dowd had a ride in the park. All of a sudden, he's got some competition on the final lap.
I think he thought he had it in the bag, just like you said, Art. I think Kevin thought he had second nailed, was going to go after Dowd. All of a sudden realized, good thinking, you better even turn it up a little bit more because VillaMin is coming strong and has made up so much time each lap on these guys. We've got a three-way battle for the lead now.
Terrific for the fans here in the first moto of the 250s. You see Dowd, Windham, VillaMin, Tortelli in fourth. Ezra Lusk is up and running in fifth.
Yeah, I would normally say that with this dried out one-line situation that you have in a lot of sections of the track, it'd be hard to pass. But and you see they're all taking the same line through here, but VillaMin in a lot of cases has been able to go completely out somewhere else that doesn't look attractive and still make his passes.
Well, Dowd's got the experience, that's for sure. He's ended up second in 250 points twice in his career. He had 3 wins, one of those years in 1997. Dowd coming down the hill. Here comes Windham, though. Dowd can't afford a mistake. Look at that back fender bouncing up and down.
All the way to that mud underneath that fender makes it look like a paper towel back there flapping. And Dowd, you can really sense the aggressiveness now. He's been riding along all comfortable the whole moto. Now he has really picked it up.
They're approaching the area that Lusk went down and created what we see right here. An outstanding finish. Who comes out of there with traction and power? Oh, Dowd did a wonderful job of staying in front of Windham. Here comes VillaMin now testing Windham. The checkers are getting ready. And it is John Dowd taking the checkered flag. His first moto win since 1997. Kevin Windham coming across in second. He's just coming off what might have been a breakthrough race in the second round in Sacramento. Third and fourth, the 2 freshmen, VillaMin and Tortelli, coming back from near last for that fine position. Albertine not on that board, 11th. Carmichael in 12th. Let's go back down to Davey now.
Well, John, it's well known that you like the mud. You just proved it again here at High Point, the first moto win.
Oh man, I'm surprised myself. I don't know. You know, I started out a little slow this year with my back injury, and I think this mud here was probably a blessing for me. I didn't have to deal with the, you know, the big jumps and everything, and you know, all the guys at Kawasaki and Bridgestone, they put together a good combination. I got the whole shot, and that made it a heck of a lot easier, I'll tell you.
Over the years, we've seen you do really well in a lot of mud races. How does this one stack up after one moto?
I don't know. I think my take on mud races is I think there's a lot of luck involved, so I just hope I can get another good start and hang on, not fall, you know, and not to make too many mistakes. And I think that's all it's going to be, you know, least amount of mistakes and hope for the best.
It's an act of survival out there. Number 14, Kevin Windham, taking advantage of things, moving up into second place. He's on a roll right now. Let's go back to the podium and Davey.
But Kevin, we know you like the mud, but tell us about the end of the race there. That was pretty close between you and Ezra, VillaMin, and of course John Dowd.
Yeah, you know, that's the way the race went out there. The track's getting fairly one line, and one lap Ezra would be, 15 seconds in front of me, and the next lap I'd be right on his tail. And I was making a couple of mistakes. VillaMin was coming up strong. I think everybody did at some point in the race make a mistake, but at the end, I don't know, I broke loose. I got a couple new lines in the back section with some real tricky off cameras, and I started feeling the heat from VillaMin, so I picked it up and was able to catch Dowd, and I'm really happy for Dowd to hold on to that race and have a strong performance.
What about the second moto? Are you going to change your strategy at all?
Well, hopefully those lines I just found towards the end of the race will still be there. Hopefully the 125s won't get in them too deep. But my bike's working great. Everything's going good. And on a rainy day like today, you can't help but thank your sponsors. We couldn't be here without them. And I'd like to thank Honda, 1-800-COLLECT, No Fear, Alpine Star Boots, Scott Goggles, Araya Helmets, Cornwall Tools, and Dunlop Tires.
We heard he was a good mudder. Number 934 proved it. Here's just a sample of what he did during that first moto. David VillaMin in good line now for the overall in his very first trip to Mount Morris.
Well, David, your mechanic, Brian, has an umbrella for you, but I don't know how good it's going to do. You just put in one heck of a ride.
Yeah, I crashed first lap, first turn, and I crashed again on the first lap, and I was kind of last. And I try hard on this moto, and I find some good line, and I'm used to this kind of condition, and I just finished behind Dowdy and Kevin, so it was a good ride for me, and my Yamaha works really good. And I want to thank all the team for that, and hopefully second moto will work better for me.
When you went down on the start, what was the best you were thinking you could do at that point?
Yeah, we're thinking about top 8 or 5 maybe, but third is pretty good with a crash on the start, and it's good for the championship. And it's a race to lose the championship here. We have to get some good points today.
So far, so good.
Yeah, so far it's better. Yeah, it's good, very good.
Well, the weather is certainly making for some interesting racing here at Mount Morris, Pennsylvania, as the 125s have the big chore of cleaning up their bikes and getting to the gate for their second moto of the day. Big challenge for the mechanics to get things ready. We'll be right back.
I've heard people say that too much of anything is not good for your business. But I don't know about that. It doesn't seem to me like it's enough. It's just not enough. My darling, I can't get enough of your love, babe.
One look at the Yamaha Roadstar, the world's biggest V-twin cruiser, and you won't be able to get enough either.
ESPN the magazine. Stuart Scott wants the fleece. Booyah! Stuart, only brand new subscribers get the free fleece.
Everyone wants our warm, roomy fleece pullover. It's free with your paid subscription to ESPN the magazine.
Maybe you want to take out another subscription.
Call now for ESPN the magazine. Get 26 issues, a year's worth for just $1 an issue, and your fleece pullover is free.
1-800-233-0500.
Outtakes, the new book by Dan Patrick. Full, expanded interviews from Dan's Outtakes column in ESPN the magazine take you inside the minds of today's favorite athletes. Dan Patrick's Outtakes, a great Father's Day gift. In bookstores now or through ESPN.com.
The Chevy Trucks AMA Motocross Series is brought to you by Suzuki, maker of innovative motorcycles and ATVs. Getting ready for the second motos for the 125s and 250s. The 125s now getting ready at the gate. Look what just happened. Between motos, we had a downpour.
Imagine trying to get your starting spot all packed down and good. There really isn't much you can do.
How has it affected the track? Davey Combs.
As 125s get ready for the second moto, the track might actually be a little better, even though a giant cloudburst just went through. As you can see the water running down, it's formed puddles everywhere. That's going to at least keep the mud from sticking as much as it did before in the first moto. But still, the conditions are awful. This is probably the worst track that some of these riders have ever seen.
And Travis Pastrana's hoping for a little bit better luck, David.
Well, the first moto, you saw him trying to make a pass for the lead. His bike quit. It was the spark plug cap. Somehow worked its way loose, and he didn't get any spark to that plug, and the motor just died. It was actually a spectator that pointed it out to him, so what an unfortunate deal. But second moto's a whole new story, and if he can pull off a good finish, which it looks like he can here in these conditions, he shouldn't lose too many points.
And Steve Lamson looking just for a consistent performance. He knows what it takes to win a championship here with the 125. So we get set now for moto number 2.
The problem these guys are going to face this time is water.
Nick Way, number 23, 199, Travis Pastrana, 26, Stefan Roncada. All contenders. A good start by Travis Pastrana, but out in front, 7-11, Talon Volan. The first turn pretty clean as far as bikes getting through it. And look at the water, the splashing. Talon Volan's at the right place now.
This is the time when you really want to get that hole shot, because anybody from second on back is just getting plastered.
Oh!
McCormick.
Is that McCormick? Yes.
That's heading into the second corner, that sharp right, where Davey talked about to us earlier about pileups. Look at him right here. This is McCormick. He's going over the bars, where it looks like a little bit. The rider behind him has nowhere to go. He goes up over the bike. Looks like maybe Skaggs. Does a somersault in the air. And then McCormick gets plowed. That's why he was holding his back. So luckily he's up and walking.
Talon Volan slipping a little bit. And right now we've got a new leader. And it is Travis Pastrana. Pastrana taking advantage, coming from third. Here comes Volan back again. Boy, did he put a spray on Travis.
That was horrible. It looked like he might have had just enough of a lead on Travis to just nail Travis right in the side, maybe wreck his vision a little bit. I think it's a good idea, though, to stay maybe second or third right here, not take any chances out front. Let the guy out front find those deep water holes, splash some of it out so you can save your bike.
Talon Volan now pulling quite a lead here in the early going of the second moto of the 125s. Steve Lamson currently in third behind Pastrana. And we get a little jump out of there.
Very little. That's normally a huge double jump.
There's Lamson going through. And your guess is as good as mine on some of those.
Now this is going to be a tough corner to make. Doesn't have much problem getting through there. I thought that'd be much harder. That's going to be like a hill climb later on because they won't get any run at the hill.
Volan Pastrana in the same picture, 1 and 2. Davey Coombs now working his way over to Lee McCullum, who's Pastrana's mechanic.
Be a good start for Travis. Yeah, it was a good start, just like the first moto, so hopefully he can keep going and finish this moto.
What exactly happened at the end of that first moto?
He made a pass for the lead on the last lap down there at the bottom of the hill and had a little bit of a problem and came around at about 13th.
Was he disappointed, or is he just good old Travis, like, oh, well?
Well, yeah, of course he was disappointed. Probably, I don't know, not as much as me maybe and all, but it was still good, and we'll just try to get some points this time.
Get a hydrofoil like going through that stuff. Anyway, it was not a mechanical. As was pointed out earlier, it was just a freak accident that happened to Pastrana.
Yeah, I've never heard anything like that, and, you know, Travis is getting a weird initiation this first year. He's had just about everything happen so far, and he's got a chance in only his third national to pick up a moto win here. The way he rode the first moto, he's got to look at the lead here in this moto. He might be able to do it. Talon is no slouch in the mud, though.
He's plowing through it pretty well.
Yeah, he's been riding through plenty of mud during all those GP seasons.
So can Travis Pastrana take on the veteran Talon Volan? We'll be right back to find out.
When Suzuki introduced the original 4-stroke DR350 and dual sport 350, it rocked motorcycling. Now, it's happening all over again. Introducing the all-new DRZ400 and DRZ400S from Suzuki. 4-stroke thunder. On-road or off.
Beauty, adventure, drama. All these and more can be yours in the wonderful world of art. And with this free art test from Art Instruction Schools, you can find out if you have the interest and desire needed to become a serious art student. To get your free art test without cost or obligation, call this toll-free number. Don't delay. Call this toll-free number now. Call 1-800-344-8300.
If you're ready to lose weight, muscle up, and get back into shape, I've got a free video you're going to love.
Introducing a winning fitness strategy.
You got to eat healthy, drink plenty of water, and most importantly, strength train with Bowflex.
Strength training adds muscle. Not only does your shape look better, you actually increase your metabolism.
Hey, I'm 41, and I'm in the best shape of my life. And I can tell you, Bowflex really does work.
For a free video and brochure on the machine that can help you get into great shape at any age, call right now.
Welcome back to a very interesting High Point Raceway track as Steve Lamson in third is getting a challenge now from Nick Way in our second 125 moto. Way goes to the outside. He pulls off a hairy pass, really, with that speed.
Well, he came into that corner, just slammed on the brakes and hoped he could make the berm. He had all the speed, made the pass on Lamson. He's going for more. And what a weird day. I mean, just a few minutes
really
ago,
is.
it was pouring. Now the sun's out.
Really, the sun won't bake it out as much as some wind might dry a track like this out.
There's McCormick, who went down early. This has been a tough day for him. That bike looks like the same thing happened to Matt Walker that first one. You see all that steam coming out. It's probably overheated.
We told you Lammy's a good mudder, but right now he's having his problems. There's number 6 trailing those other two bikes. Roderick Tane, the Frenchman on a KTM, and Paul Curry have moved in front of him now. So he's gone from 3rd to 6th in rapid form. Nick Way, who took an overall 7th position here last year, is doing much better. He's 3rd in this moto. Nick Way, growing up in Michigan, should handle this weather pretty well. We asked him about it earlier.
Well, living in Michigan, I grew up riding in the mud, but last year at Budds Creek, I didn't end up doing so well. You know, I crashed on the first turn and got stuck the first moto, so I didn't do as well as I wanted. So today in the mud, I got something to prove to myself, and you know, because I've always been really good in the mud, but you know, I didn't do so well in Budds Creek last year, so hopefully I do good here today.
The luck plays a big part in it. You can like it, you can be experienced at it, but it doesn't mean you're going to finish well when it comes to the muck.
Way looking pretty good right here. I think that's Way. Yeah, it is. Look at him. Look how hard he's got to be on the throttle, working the clutch. He burned a clutch up so much worse in the mud because he used it a lot more. Look at him trying to get a good line. He's going to go wide, try to square it to get up that hill. That's what I talked about, being a hill climb later in the day, because in these 125s, you can't build much momentum right there. The faster you get out of that corner, the faster you can get up the hill. It's going to take him a lot longer now. And as far as getting a start in the mud, really, you know, I've said kind of both ways, so I don't confuse people. You know, I've said you need to get a good start, yes, so you can save your vision and not get covered with mud right away. But we've already seen from the 250 first moto that both Tortelli and VillaMin were laying in the first corner and were able to get back up and have a shot at winning the race. So if you're a good enough mud rider and you don't mind just going out there and getting soaked and covered with it, it's not that big of a deal if you don't get a great start.
Lamson's starting to pick it up a little bit. So is Paul Curry, having one of his better rides of the year from Plano Honda. Well, you got to hand it to the fans. This crowd is just as big as would be on a sunny day.
They are hardcore. This Mount Morris crowd. Well, you know, I remember in 1983, this was actually the worst conditions I ever raced in, was right here. I got lapped by Bob Hanna. I think I was 7th in the moto. He lapped me. And it was lakes going across the track everywhere, and some water got into the slide of my carburetor, and the throttle was sticking every once in a while. I had a horrible day. Didn't enjoy it at all. If I'd have enjoyed it, probably would have done a lot better. It's attitude, really. I think Steve has approached this day a little bit too conservatively. Worried about the points, and you know, not that it's a bad strategy, but he's not doing as well as he'd like.
More tough luck for Stefan Roncada just going down. Roncada, who took a second place here back in '97. It was his first American podium, is not having that much fun.
Now, look at the skill of Roncada. I mean, he's a Supercross champion. He won the opener, and he just looks like an amateur going around that left turn. so difficult to try to keep your balance. Find the line you want, get the power down, be in the right gear. Sometimes you run a gear higher because you got a lot more wheel spin. Your clothes get heavy. As a matter of fact, the race I did here, I had a chest protector that just covered the front of me. It got so caked with mud and so heavy, it was just hanging on the gas tank the whole race. That was more of a problem than negotiating the track.
A good shot of Talon Bolin on the off camber. Tries to keep the power up, but still square for the uphill. We asked him about his strategy about riding in the mud here at Mount Morris.
I don't really like it, though. You know, I think it's same for everybody, and it's so much work for the mechanics. Kind of fun for the riders because we get to go around and play around on the bike, but they got to do so much work. And it's just hard for everybody because in mud, you don't realistically, even if you are a good mud rider, there's always that first turn mud, and you don't know if you're going to make it through there. So, I mean, I would prefer dry, but if it's mud, let it be and go out there and try to get some points. And, you know, it could really change up the points today like that. So I know hopefully it just work in my favor. I try to be consistent and strong and just keep on moving forward. If you make a mistake, you just got to keep going.
That strategy's been very evident here, David.
Well, you know, you can actually fall once a lap and still win this race. As long as you don't get too much mud on your grip, you can still turn the throttle and you're going fast enough. And in some cases, we've heard it before, if you don't fall sometimes, you're not going fast enough. It's never been more true than in a mud race like this.
And you never give up. It doesn't look like Travis Pastrana, but it is. And he isn't giving up in second place because you just never know what's going to happen to the rider in front of you.
That's true. These days, bikes are so reliable until you get to conditions like these. You never know what can happen.
Hope you can join us for our next telecast coming to you from Southwick on Sunday, the 25th of June, 1:30 in the afternoon.
This rule should go without saying, but it is never proper to play with your food while dining.
Hey, we're not just playing, we're eating too. And now that we've got 10 items for $10 or under, you can eat at Joe's more often. Choose from fish, shrimp, pasta, salads, and more. And now, get Joe's Steak and Dungeness Crab Combo for only $12.99 at Joe's Crab Shack, where the only rule of etiquette is eat crabs and have fun.
One price buying, only at Templeton Dodge Olds in Tysons.
It's the time of year to put the top down and feel the wind in your hair. Only Templeton has the 2000 Sebring you want, plus one price buying.
That's right. Pick the Sebring you want for just $2.99 a month. We've got over 20 to choose from, all at just $18,888.
Come on, you won't find a better convertible for a better price. One price buying. No one else has it.
One low price, 1 hour delivery, only at Templeton Dodge Olds in Tysons.
ESPN Classic, the network with the greatest sports in history, has 2 whole days of classic sports just for Chicago. Slam & Sammy leads the Cubs to the playoffs. The White Sox clinch their first division title in a decade and revisit the Bears' victorious 1985 season. Chicago fans celebrate 2 days of glory with Classic Chicago, presented by AT&T Cable Services. All day, today, and tomorrow, only on ESPN Classic. To get ESPN Classic, call 1-800-CLASSIC today.
Moto, the 125s at Mount Morris Raceway. This is the 3rd round of our U.S. Motocross Championship Series. It's Talon Bolin in the lead, and Kelly Smith, who took the win in the first moto, is currently in 5th place. David, this puts him in great stead for an overall.
He's got a chance. You can't start counting your chickens, though, in a race like this. I mean, like you said, before we went to break, anything can happen. Kelly knows that. He knows he's got to take good care of the bike. Can't go into any real deep ruts. You can throw a chain, get into a water puddle, a radiator can get clogged up, your bike can overheat, a lot of things. You got to not only try to go fast, but pick the best lines to take good care of the bike.
Our Davey Coombs is in the pits. He gets the inside stuff now from Kelly's mechanic, can number 41. Hold on.
Right now, the way we figured it out, you're sitting pretty for the overall with a 1-5, but 2 bad starts almost cost you the race.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't know that about the overall. Still a long way to go, so I'm not counting anything out.
How's the bike sound?
Bike's great. KTM's working awesome. They work really good in the water, so.
How was Kelly between motos?
Just as he always is, relaxed, funny, joking, just ready to go out.
While we're with Davey and looking at number 41, Kelly Smith, number 199 has taken the lead, Travis Pastrana. You know, as hard as it looks out on the track, It's probably equally as difficult being a cameraman at this event.
Well, and for the cameras to stay working through these conditions, I mean, these are the best bikes in the world. And our cameras are suffering some of these problems too. We've missed a couple of things today. We apologize for that. Ernesto Fonseca not having a good day.
Next year he's going to practice in the rainforest in his native Costa Rica for this one.
Good luck picking that bike up. Plus it looks like it's hurt a little bit. He's had a tough season. You know, last year came so easy for him. Travis getting all out of shape, trying to work his way through left riders. But back on Fonseca, I mean, I think last year already everything kind of came too easy for him. He rode well and he deserved what he got, you know, as far as all those wins in the championship, but it came pretty easy for him. And this year it really seems like he's having to pay some dues.
Nick Way just coming into the picture there. He's in second place behind Travis Pastrana. Getting dangerously close. We could have a battle for the lead here soon. Right now it's time for our Suzuki flashback. From 1970 to 1979, there was not a rider who dominated motocross like Suzuki's Roger DeCoster.
As a rider, well, I won 5 world championships with them and 4 Trans-AMA championship and several motocross the nations and Belgium championships and so on. So most of my winning I did with Suzuki as a rider.
DeCoster has enjoyed so much success over his brilliant career, but the Belgian is most proud not of his titles or wins, but his efforts to help the sport he loves grow in popularity.
Other countries, I went to a lot of races, kind of more trying to push the sport, you know, making it more international and all that. I did things in Australia, in South America, you know, pretty much all over the world to try to promote it.
And thanks to his efforts back in the 1970s, there's no question motocross has grown around the world. And evidence of the popularity can be seen in the pits every race weekend.
Well, it's a lot different, you know. In 1970, there was not, there were no semis in the pit, you know. There was, we drove to most of the races. They pretty much took care of anything concerning the bike, but all the traveling and all the other stuff, you know, the riders did themselves. Whether it was me or anybody else.
And for that, today's racers should stop by the Suzuki team manager's pit and thank one of the pioneers of the sport for his contributions. There's Kelly Smith, number 41, currently in 4th place. It's a good justification for the added support that KTM has given Kelly Smith and many of the other riders with a tremendous team effort this year.
It looks like he's having fun. He's just sliding the bike around, picking the lines he wants. No goggles. It's got to be hard to see right now. He's got to go around all. Look at that line. There's 2 guys back there just waiting. Get out of the way. And he was able to see that early and not lose too much time.
Oh!
That was Lamson. Good thing he had that handguard on there. Could have messed up his throttle or front brake lever when they made contact.
Here's Kelly Smith again. He joined Shane King earlier in the Supercross season as for the first time 2 4-strokes making it into the same main event. But history's being made every time these guys go on the track, it seems like. Davey.
Well, as expected, this has become just one giant survival test. The cool thing is, the guy that appears to be ready to win the overall is Kelly Smith from Michigan. That's going to be a little piece of history because a KTM has never won a national overall. In fact, before the first moto, they'd never won a moto either. So Kelly Smith's about to make history. As far as the championship goes, the bikes of both Pastrana and Lamson are sputtering severely, and Roncada is just having a lousy time keeping his Yamaha up. He might be out of the points. For Lamson and Pastrana, it's just about survival. Boland looks good at second.
And looking very good in first is Travis Pastrana as he passes the lapper Billy Payne of Pro Circuit Kawasaki.
You could hear that bike sputtering a little bit too as he came around that sweeper. Travis has to know that he may just end this moto the same way into the first one with a freak thing. Bikes these days, like I said, they're so dependable. You just pick them up off the showroom floor, put on the handlebars you like. In some cases, you just adjust them the way you like and go. But for a day like this, you got to make so many little changes to it to keep water from getting in. The ignition can become a problem. Brakes, overheating. It's a mechanic's nightmare.
Well, the ruts are really getting big. What's it going to do to the 250s in their final moto of the afternoon. After these guys get done with it, Travis Pastrana continues to lead the 125 second moto from Mount Morris. We've got lots more motocross action nationwide hoping to come your way. Check us out. It is terrific to watch these live. Southwick, Massachusetts. Then we go to the Midwest. We go out west to an extremely beautiful track, Washougal, Washington, before going upstate New York and ending things out at Belmont, Pennsylvania.
He's upside down. This one has to go like that.
Some children imagine that their father is the most powerful man in the world. Wonder where they got that idea. The 300 horsepower Silverado. The truck from Chevrolet.
Discover the amazing training secrets of Baseball World's dynamic practice organization video, featuring professional scout and instructor Tommy Mansky and his famous step-by-step building block approach to athletic training. These are the same techniques that have produced Baseball World's back-to-back-to-back AAU national championship teams. Parents, players, and coaches are amazed at the rapid improvement of students using these principles, enhancing arm strength, running speed, quickness, and agility. Dynamic practice organization works for all ages and levels of ability and makes a great gift too. Order now.
Which is the most formidable athletic threesome?
Allen Iverson.
Chipper Jones.
Venus Williams. Felix Trinidad.
David Wells.
Dick Trickle.
Until recently, such a debate would have raged endlessly. But now, through the miracle of the internet, ESPN.com brings you 3Play. You log on, you register, and every day you get 3 new athletes. And whoever gets the best stats wins a mint. 3Play at ESPN.com. It's free, it's sports. Give me the briefcase. It's money.
Time running out here for the second moto of the 125s, and Travis Pastrana is on the verge of winning his very first 125 outdoor moto. It is the final lap now for Travis Pastrana.
He's just waving at the people, looking out into the crowd. You can hear them. They're so stoked when they see the leader come by and wave at them. They've been standing out there toughing it out this whole day too.
It's got to be a great feeling for Travis Pastrana on the verge of his very first moto victory. A psychological advantage, if nothing else. Let's see what his mechanic's thinking about right about now.
After all this glitzy Supercross wins and all the fun you guys had in stadiums, it's kind of ironic that it looks like Travis's first outdoor win will be in a mess like this.
Yeah, I know it's a big difference between this and Supercross, but he just loves it. He's having fun, and, you know, he comes in, he says, man, the mud's great. I love it here. High Point's great. He just loves it. That's all.
Well, he's 16. You know, about 10 more years, if he's still saying all that, I'll be impressed. I know he'll still have a good time out there, but I think it's really important, Art, that more than this moto win early in his pro career, but the fact that he's done it in these conditions, he's establishing himself as a mud rider. And that's important, you know. I mean, when you go and get ready for a Supercross, all the riders are thinking and worrying about Jeremy McGrath. The next time it rains, they'll be worried about Travis Pastrana.
On his final lap, whoa, trying a trick in the mud. He knows how to give Roger DeCoster a heart attack. Takes those rollers fairly simply. And now the finish line jump with a checkered flag, and he does a heel clicker. Oh, my goodness. Travis Pastrana winning his very first moto in his first pro season. And Kelly Smith will nail down the first ever overall for himself as well as his team, KTM. There's a happy Roger DeCoster. Roger looking at Travis's dad, kind of shaking his head. Smile comes back on Travis Pastrana's face. As we take a look now at the final results, Pastrana away, Volan 1 through 3. Kelly Smith, that fourth will give him the overall. Lammy came back for 5th. And he should keep the points lead. We'll check officially a little bit later on. Right now, let's go back to Davey with our third place finisher.
Talon, that last one looked like a tough one.
It was for me, and I got the whole shot, rode really good the first half of the race, probably 20 minutes, and I went down back here on the side hill, got it up and going, but my hand was just complete mud, you get so heavy when you fall in the mud, you get up and your bike's all slippery underneath you. It wasn't like before, and I was starting to struggle a little bit. And I really had a hard time with one lap. The whole 3 laps, I never got by him, and Nick got by me and got by that guy, and then I had no chance. So I tell you, it was I mean, if you watch on TV, it's a real struggle just to ride around the track. I mean, I was riding the slowest guy, but just staying up and keep pedaling. The 250s is going to be unbelievable chaos.
A great promo talent. Stay tuned, everybody. Look at Travis Pastrana turning a bad day into really a wonderful day for him, winning the moto. But in the overalls, Nick Way, a good second place finish. Kelly Smith, he's the big winner here today. Let's go down to Davey now, who's with the Kawasaki Pro Circuit rider.
But Nick, you never stopped charging out there, and you ended up getting second place behind the guy you grew up, I guess, racing with, Kelly Smith, 1-2 for Michigan out there in the mud.
Yeah, you know, it's pretty cool. We got the Mafia 1-2 on the podium there, kind of bring it back a little bit, and you know, I couldn't be happier. You know, I would have liked to win the overall, you know, but someone else had to win it out of my good buddy Kelly.
How was it out there on the last lap? We saw you battling with Talon Bowen, at least we think it was. It was hard to tell anyone out there.
Yeah, I put a pass on Talon here. I bumped him a little bit, kind of we got slid into each other, I guess, but you know, I knew that if I would have passed him, that would have been one more point in the overall, because he finished 2 behind me and he had 2 points here. So you know, I wanted to get by him, so I ended up second in the moto, but I couldn't have done it without my mechanic, Kevin, and my family, and Split Fire, Pro Circuit, 1-800 Collect, Chevy trucks, Bridgestone tires, you know, Thor, Shoei helmets, Alpine Stars, and Spy goggles.
Go get cleaned up.
Yeah, thanks.
So how does all of this in the mud affect the points race? Well, Steve Lamson, after 3 rounds, has a 3-point lead on Roncada, a 6-point lead on Volan, and still, Travis Pastrana is still in it, only 27 points off the lead. Let's go back to Davey.
Travis, I have good news and bad news. The good news is that you won. The bad news is your cast is wet.
I can't believe it. The doctor told me not to go swimming with it. Mud bath, same thing, right? Maybe.
What a great race.
Hey, thanks a lot. You know, I can't say enough for my team. I had a little mishap. The spark plug cap just came out in the last corner while I was battling for the lead with Kelly Smith in the first moto. I love the mud. My goal was to come out here and have fun, and I did that. You know, the first moto was a little disheartening to go out and be so close to the finish, but you know, congratulations to Kelly Smith. I think he took the overall, I'm not sure, but man, I love playing the mud.
Well, I know that you grow up here as an amateur riding high point all the time. You ever seen it this bad?
I think the year Damon Bradshaw won was a little worse, but this was my worst mud race ever, and it was great.
Well, congratulations to you and Robert and Debbie, your whole family, your first moto win ever as a pro.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Last moto was the first one I ever led. This one's the first one I ever won. Man, welcome to the East Coast. I'm excited to be back home.
Survival, truly the word of the day, and Kelly Smith was the best of the survivors as he just stuck to it. Let's go back to Davey, who's with Kelly.
Kelly, I'd like to congratulate you not only on your first overall win, but for the first win ever for the manufacturer KTM here at High Point.
Thanks a lot. You know, it feels really great. Not the best of starts, but I ended up working my way up, and you know, got the 4th that second moto, and you know, the overall went my way. That's great.
Were you thinking about when you're out there? Was your strategy just stay up and stay in the points?
Yeah, you know, I didn't even, know if I was going to get the overall. I didn't find out till they, told me when I stopped here, and, it's great.
You seem awful calm about it. I mean, that means your name is in the record books forever. You're right there with anyone in the history of motocross who ever won a national. You'll always have that.
Yeah, it feels great, but, another thing is, it bumps me up in the points, and I don't think I'm going to have to run qualifiers next weekend. That's going to be great going into Southwick, because I love the sand, too.
Congratulations, Kelly.
Thanks a lot, Davey.
Next is the 250's turn to try the mud puddles here at Mount Morris. Can Greg Albertine, the defending champion, or Ricky Carmichael, the points leader, coming into the day's action? Can they make up for disappointing first motos? Or will John Dowd make it a sweep? We'll be right back.
Introducing the first Suzuki ATV, available in your choice of manual or automatic transmission. The Quad Runner 500, an all-new Quad Master 500. The choice is yours.
Get a Suzuki Quad Master 500, 0 down, 9.9% financing. Hurry, this offer won't last.
Call toll-free to get free information by mail about the Craftmatic Model 2 adjustable bed. This wonderful bed adjusts to hundreds of relaxing positions, offers optional warm, soothing heat, and relaxing built-in massage, yet costs up to 56% less than these quality flat beds. Don't pay more to remain flat. Call toll-free and get complete free facts by mail about the adjustable bed that costs up to 56% less.
Call toll-free 1-800-344-8300.
A great tradition continues on ESPN2 Friday Night Fights. This week's main event, Tarver versus Hardy. The winner of this light heavyweight bout becomes the mandatory challenger to Roy Jones Jr. Friday Night Fights, Friday at 9 on ESPN2.
Pennsylvania. This is round 3 of the AMA U.S. Motocross Championship Series. And this is the second moto coming up for the 250s, the final event of the day.
Look at the starting rut. After they get over the gate about 10 feet, they go right through water.
And we're underway. Kevin Windham, not the best of starts on the inside. Out front, it looks like John Dowd will get the whole shot money once again, number 16 on the Kawasaki. Windham riding one-handed right there on his right. Shane King goes down into the corner. Kevin Windham coming out of some uncharted territory there, looking down at the bike as Shane King now tries to get that four-stroke restarted, and he'll be back into the action in last place. Out in front, though, duck walking the rollers is John Dowd, with Kevin Windham once again right there in second place.
Looked like that might have been Lusk running third. It's hard to tell. Already the third place guy is unrecognizable. And these ruts, all those lines that Kevin thought he had from the first moto, I don't know if they're going to be any good now. You see him duck as soon as he went across the line of Dowd. It's going to be important for him to save his vision and really lose his goggles in the first lap.
Dowd and Windham starting to pull away. You were right. That was Ezra Lusk in third, number 11. And then it's David VillaMin.
Well, look out, because if VillaMin could come from last to third with a fourth place start, these guys are in trouble.
Tortelli is in back of VillaMin. So we've got the usual crowd up front. Whoa, hold on, Dowdy. John Dowd tried to hold a position, and Kevin Windham comes up there bar to bar for a little while. And John Dowd comes off the jump first. Kevin Windham's right there, though.
Yeah, I thought Kevin had the pass made, but Dowd went fishtailing right back across in front of Kevin. He had to back out of it. And it shows you the determination of Dowd. He was all over the bike, laying on the seat, and he wouldn't let off.
Through the creek.
Look at this again. This is too good. We got to show you. Look, in slow motion, you can really see how out of shape he got. All the way down the straightaway, he gets sideways. Looks like they might have even touched elbows a little bit right there, but Dowd ended up in a little bit better line.
Oh, here comes Windham on the off camber. And Dowdy got the better angle, and Windham almost lost his balance. Somebody else lost their balance. In fact, he's having a hard time even getting up after the crash. Don't blame me if I'm wrong, but I think that's Joshua Sweet. John Dowd, so far, has had a terrific day. And he's trying to hold off Kevin Windham, though. Windham is really giving him a chase here in the second moto.
I think Dowd realizes it's important, since he's got the lead, to try to hang on to it for a lap, at least a lap. Cover Kevin with as much mud as possible. I mean, if you really think stuff like that, you're roosting the guy a little bit on purpose. You're not really trying to dodge those water puddles. You're trying to really mess the guy up behind you if you can. Look how clean Dowd is compared to Windham, and that'll matter in the rest of the race.
Coming down the hill, trying to break, keeping that balance and still keep the power up.
Now, Kevin's just going after him and attacking. He's not hanging back and trying to stay out of that roost. He's trying to stay close. And look at the difference. You can barely recognize Kevin already. It's only been one lap. They got 30 minutes to go.
John Dowd, 2 whole shots on the day. You know, it's been a while since we heard from Jeremy Albrecht, John Dowd's mechanic. Let's get out of the pits.
J-Bone, those starts have been amazing for John today.
Yeah, definitely. You know, he got out there on the start, which is what he wanted to do. It's hard to tell really what's happening. It looks really slippery, so I don't know what's going on out there right now, but
still a long race and a lot could happen. What do you think's better, to have a muddy, tacky track or a slimy mud like this? I would say probably slimy mud like this, but neither one of them is what I like.
We could be seeing more of Jeremy here in the near future. We're going to Southwick.
That's right. Dowd's fast up there. You know, Jeremy Albrecht, I mean, we haven't seen much of him since the Emick days, you know, but he's one of those guys that always seems like he's having a lot of fun out there. He told me he loves working with John. I remember back in St. Louis, I think it was, after the race, John crashed in the first turn, pretty spectacular-like. We had a replay of that. The bike went spinning through the air. Then he crashed again really hard in the whoops. Then he crashed again, and he never gave up. Jeremy loves a rider like that.
Dowd's on top right now with Windham, Lusk, VillaMin, Tortelli, and Ward, our top 6.
You know, ideas and inventions come from people in all walks of life. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? If so, Invention Submission Corporation has information to help you get started. ISC is America's largest inventor service firm. Call now and learn how to submit your idea to companies through ISC's databank and apply for a patent. Even if your idea is just to improve an existing product, call for ISC's free information.
For your inventor's information, call 1-800-652-0101.
Meet Carlos Sandoval, veteran Navy SEAL, trained to go through anything, equipped to survive it. Introducing the Chevy S10 Survival Pack. CD, automatic, air, aluminum wheels. Over $1,300 in savings and $1,250 cash back. You might think all that comfort could weaken a Navy SEAL. Fat chance. Chevy S10, like a rock.
It's the final event of the afternoon. John Dowd winning the first moto of the 250s, and this is the second moto of the 250s, number 16, with that clean plate out in front once again with Kevin Windham in second place. Also a Team Honda that should be number 11, Ezra Lusk in third. And behind him, hanging right in there, is David VillaMin. He really isn't attacking like David Bailey thought he might. Oh, what a crevasse that John Dowd got hung up in, and we've got a new leader. Kevin Windham has taken over the lead here in the second moto. If John Dowd could just keep upright, though, he still has the shot at the overall, a big one.
He's going to get dirty now, following that roost to Kevin. Actually, he's just outside of that roost zone. Lusk has got a chance. He's up in there. This is a great opportunity for Lusk to get back in there, get a little confidence going. Although the conditions are weird, probably more of a physical test to ride today than any other time, so that should tell him he's back and ready. Watch this, what happens to John Dowd. He's trying to stay in that deep rut. Look how out of shape he got. He's clear off to the back of the bike, trying to follow that rut there. A little bit harder for him to stay in that under power than it was for Kevin out there in that slime, just pinned. He didn't have to pick a rut, just had to try to stay out of the way of Dowd. They almost got together again there.
Well, this might put a shot of adrenaline in VillaMin as well.
Dowd trying to clear his vision. Coming up that hill, he really didn't have to do much of that in the opening lap or in the first moto. He was always the guy out front.
Dowdy's never won at this track. And it looks like, yes, it is a 5. It's Mike LaRocco picking himself up. A mediocre start on the motocross season after an outstanding supercross season, but it's just another tough moto for Mike LaRocco, who placed 13th in moto number 1. Dowd in second place, and VillaMin has taken over, I believe he's taken over third. Let's check it as they come by. There's Dowd. There's VillaMin on the outside. Yes. VillaMin in third. The yellow flag is down. VillaMin doesn't see the rider down. He has to almost stop. Lusk couldn't take advantage of it, though, and VillaMin's back up to speed, trying to pursue Dowdy.
Pretty awesome turn, though, for VillaMin. He got hung out there, and he was able to make that correction so quick. Like you said, Lusk couldn't take advantage when I really thought he had a chance there.
Now, when do they have time to read a mechanic's board going into that off-camber? Oh, look at Dowd trying to get up that hill. Here comes VillaMin on the inside. David VillaMin, he's got the shot at the overall right now as he goes into second place.
You can just tell by VillaMin's body, he's just pushing that bike along. Longer legs are a little bit of a help. You've got so much more leverage over the bike to get traction and keep your balance on these off cambers. VillaMin has just been awesome. Now he is starting to attack like I thought he would. Watch what he does. He comes into the corner really fast. Realizes he's got to make this pivot so he doesn't run over the guy in front of him. He just turns on a dime right there. Stays out of the way of Lusk. Really doesn't lose much time. The guy can pretty much take whatever line he wants, and in the mud, that's really hard to do.
Just a huge move for David VillaMin, that's for sure. Yellow flag is out, and it's Kevin Windham who's down. We've got a new leader all of a sudden. 9:34 with mud all over it. David VillaMin is our new leader. Dowd in second place. Lusk has now moved up to third. Windham is up and running in fourth.
There, look how tough it's getting for even VillaMin, paddling through that deep rut back there.
Well, Volan warned us it'd be a little gnarly for the 250s in this last moto of the afternoon, and look at that terrain. It's incredible.
4-inch wide rut all the way down that straightaway and all the way up through there. It takes incredible balance. You get a little bit off right there, just like he did at that time. Look what happens. You get out into that deep mud, but he didn't seem to lose much time. He's got such great throttle control and balance.
Little mud skiing right there with the left foot for David VillaMin, who is our new leader. Dowd in second, Lusk in third, Windham and Tortelli rounding out the top five. Can VillaMin hold on?
Showtime is taking this summer by storm with on-the-edge entertainment you won't find anywhere else. You'll see exclusive Hollywood hits, powerful original pictures, and new original series, plus knockout championship boxing. The Movie Channel is a movie lover's paradise with daily movie marathons and movie fun facts. It's 100% pure fun 24 hours a day. This is one storm you don't want to miss. Order Showtime in the Movie Channel now.
Come here, boy. With its V6 power and shift on the fly 4-wheel drive, the Grand Vitara can get you and your buddy through anything. The V6 Grand Vitara from Suzuki.
Wow, Suzuki, huh?
It's MotorWeek's best small SUV of the year.
See the V6 Grand Vitara at Jerry's Leesburg Suzuki, because before you buy your next car or truck, you gotta drive one of these.
Hey, what's up, Tony?
Hey, Stu.
How you doing?
Is there a lot of security around here?
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean?
Well, you know, security guards.
Tomorrow, the road trip rips into L.A. Mark McGuire's looking to go deep, and he muscles the Cards against Slugger, Gary Sheffield, and the Dodgers. The ultimate road trip rolls on. Cardinals, Dodgers, tomorrow at 8 on ESPN.
Second moto 250s, Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. We've got a terrific freight train here for second place. Lusk, Dowd, Tortelli, and Windham, and John Dowd has made the pass on Ezra Lusk. For second place, VillaMin is checked out. Now, if you can tell who the rest of these guys are, you let me know.
Well, the mechanics are having a hard time identifying their own riders. Look how slick it's getting coming down that hill just to find that rut. As soon as you're in a rut, you're pretty sure the bike's not going to slip out from underneath you. You just kind of ski with both feet on each side.
Good move by Dowd to get in front of Lusk right now. There you see it. They're taking the same line.
Just whatever line. They aim for a line, but you just have to be patient, knowing you might not get it. You might have to settle for a worse line or a deeper rut.
There's Tortelli, 21. And then Kevin Windham, number 14.
Second place is the toss-up between any of these guys right now. They're not making time on VillaMin, but they're definitely in a great battle for second. And Windham still has a shot at the tail end of this battle. He can still get by all these guys. All Dowd's got to do is get stuck in a rut, and the other two guys get hung up behind him. Windham could pick a different line and shoot into second.
Nothing's for sure. That's a fact there, as Dowd got caught that front wheel.
It almost happened right there. It was weird. He got on the front brake so hard, the bike just stopped in it. There's a few sections out there that are one line, but the rest of it, there's 4 or 5 ruts starting to develop.
Mike LaRocco in 17th, as we saw in our rundown there. As Dowd tries to get a little distance, Lusk is having a hard time with Tortelli. Now, how come Tortelli's shirt is so clean on the backside?
I don't know.
He's not sitting back on the seat?
Yeah, you know, usually when you let off, all that mud comes flying up off the rear tire and hits you in the back. Maybe he's just not letting off very much.
That could be a very good point. Out in front, battling the muck, is David VillaMin. And David, we have to go back to the comment you made earlier.
Yeah, I was talking to Ryan Hughes. Ryan going back to ride the GPs this year, and he said, just watch VillaMin. If it rains, that guy is so fast. He has proven it right here today. He's just making all these guys racing for second look like amateurs. Look how much trouble they have going up that hill. VillaMin's going up there on a wheelie.
Here's Tortelli, and he is now in front of Lusk. There's Lusk number 11 as they try to weed their way through the lappers now. And Ricky Carmichael in 12th place in the first moto. More trouble here in the second. It's safe to say right now Ricky Carmichael will not be our points leader after Mount Morris. And more tough luck for the defending champion.
Is that who that is?
I think it's Albertine, number 1 right there.
He's going out there with no gloves, Art. That's impossible. At least with a little bit of material there, you can get some traction. It seems better for a moment, but bare hands, that's going to last about a lap. He's going to wish he had some gloves. I don't know if he has a choice right now, though.
Is that our leader? I believe it is.
He's going fast. It must be VillaMin.
What a great feeling it's got to be for VillaMin now. This could be his second overall win, his first moto win in his career here in America, and he could take over the points lead all in the same race.
You know, the long legs of VillaMin act like so much extra balance and skis out there to help keep him upright in these ruts. Think about those people that walk across those tight wires way up how high. They have that pole they carry to help keep their balance. They can stick those legs out and get more balance and more traction to the rear end at times. So it's a little bit of an advantage to be tall. That's why Ricky Carmichael is having such a hard time today.
Here's Sebastian Tortelli, number 21. Tortelli's starting very strong in the motocross season with a 2-2 and then a 3-3. He wishes this was a 1-1, but that's not the case, as you can tell on the face of his mechanic, Shane Drew. And to be honest, we didn't expect for him to fall back in the points race during this point in time. Our Suzuki trivia question this week: named the last Suzuki 125 overall winner here at Mount Morris.
Here's a way to help your business with no risk at all. Just call for your free trial version of QuickBooks Pro, America's #1 best-selling small business accounting software. From the makers of Quicken, so you know it's easy to use. Want to write a check? You just start typing, and QuickBooks Pro fills in the rest. It shows you how much money you're owed and who owes it. It even prints invoices with your company logo. Call for your free QuickBooks Pro trial version now. There's no bill, no hassle, no risk. You can't do better than that.
How would you really like to get to know Jeff Gordon, Dan Marino, Dennis Rodman, Brett Favre, Pete Sampras, Charles Barkley? Find out why Greg Maddux wears a Mickey Mouse watch, what Mike Piazza does in bars, what kind of wrestler Tim Duncan would be. All this and more in Outtakes, a new book by Dan Patrick. Full expanded interviews from Dan's Outtakes column in ESPN The Magazine take you inside the minds of today's favorite athletes. Dan Patrick's Outtakes, a great Father's Day gift. In bookstores now or through ESPN.com.
The Suzuki trivia question named the last Suzuki 125 overall winner at Mount Morris. It was Tim Ferry back in 1995. David VillaMin is on his way to his second overall win in a row. But right here is Sebastian Tortelli, his fellow Frenchman, in second place. As you can tell with the track conditions, if you've just joined us, it's not been the optimum for these riders.
No, it's been tough for the riders, tough for the spectators, but I'll tell you what, this is a spectacular facility, fan-friendly, and it's just too bad that Mother Nature picked this week to rain on this beautiful track.
Now let's take a look at this week's Honda profile. Behind Sebastian Tortelli's motocross effort is his mechanic Shane Drew. If you think Drew's only job is to tune the bike, you'd be sadly mistaken.
I think we're a mechanic, but I think sometimes we're also, a good friend and a coach and a dad and a boss if we have to be. And so I think the biggest thing, most important thing is he trusts what I do on the bike.
While the riders spend hours training to meet Sunday's challenge, the mechanics spend just as many hours conditioning the bike.
I spend about 15 hours a week on the chassis and about another 5 hours a week rebuilding the engine. Every week we split the engine down to every last nut and bolt, inspect the transmission parts, inspect everything, replace what's necessary. So we put in over 20 hours of work just on the motorcycle before we even get to the track. And then it all starts again. We're there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, fly home one whole day, home for a day and a half, fly back another whole day, and do it all again.
What makes that workload worthwhile for all the tuners? It's the thrill of seeing their rider crossing the finish line first.
Sebastian's out there riding. It's my baby, my bike out there. He's using my bike for the day is all it is. I let him ride it. So we kind of live our lives through the riders, I think, because I think all of us mechanics are just frustrated riders. If we could be racing, we would be, So we're not good enough, so this is the next best thing, but we all love it. Sometimes we put in 80, 90, 100 hours a week when we have to, and you have to love your job to do that.
Shane Drew's rider right now, Tortelli, in second place. The battle's on for third between number 11 and 14. Once again, Honda teammates Lusk and Windham. So it's 3 Hondas in a row after David VillaMin in this race. Honda's second, third, and fourth, but David VillaMin continues to give Yamaha their greatest year ever. Back in 1997, we had similar wet conditions here at Mount Morris, and we saw some incredible action. Number 6, Larry Ward, was leading the race with Damon Bradshaw on the chase. It was the final lap. The overall was at stake as they go through lake-like conditions. Larry Ward loses the lead right here. Bradshaw cutting to the inside goes on to win the moto, winning his last national in a great motocross career. This victory tied him with Rick Johnson as the winningest rider in Mount Morris with 4 victories. That was truly an exciting moment for me to witness personally as we take a look at Kevin Windham, who's currently in 4th place. There's a new development in the pits. Let's go to Davey.
Down here in the pits, Greg Albertine is pulled in again. This is the 3rd time. As you can see, his mechanic Joe Maurer is getting another pair of goggles for him. He already stopped once to take his gloves off. The second time he put new gloves on. This time he's stopping for goggles. Just a disastrous day for Albertine. Almost as bad as the day Carmichael's having. You see his mechanic Chad Watts also staying in there to help out. That's how bad it's gotten. The teams are helping each other just survive.
Another thing, Davey, that could really just scramble up the points race in the 250s after only 3 rounds of action before we take a weekend off and go to Southwick. Well, conditions haven't changed much. It's not raining now, but it's going to be interesting to see if David VillaMin can take his 2nd consecutive overall victory and his very first moto win. We'll be back.
He's upside down. This one has to go like that.
Some children imagine that their father is the most powerful man in the world. Wonder where they got that idea. The 300 horsepower Silverado. The truck from Chevrolet.
We've taken the soul of the 1985 GSXR, the motorcycle that created the race replica category, and placed it into the newest GSXR. Introducing the 2000 GSXR 750 from Suzuki, the soul of a champion, reborn.
Soccer fans, get ready for great MLS action. When you order MLS ESPN Shootout, you'll get up to 100 matches you can't see anywhere else. So bring the action home. Order now. Call your cable company, DirecTV, or Dish Network.
The Chevy Trucks AMA Motocross Series is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. And by Honda, the company that defines performance on two wheels. Performance first. And by Suzuki, makers of innovative motorcycles and ATVs. Welcome back to High Point Raceway for the Chevy Trucks AMA Motocross Series. It is the final lap for David VillaMin. Just moments ago, Windham moved into second. Tim Ferry of Chaparral Yamaha, who's been riding in 5th and 6th all day long, got in front of Lusk. But now all the attention is on this guy, David VillaMin.
He has been phenomenal. He goes by some Yamaha crew guys right there. No goggles, just paddling his way around this racetrack.
You know, he likes to do heel clickers. Travis Pastrana's done his.
I don't know if he's got anything left for that. He is a showman, though. He loves to put on a show for the crowd, but it's just too hard on this racetrack. It's just gotten so bad. He's probably glad he's only got one more lap now.
His very first American motocross moto win.
I think this has gone past the point of fun. This is the toughest off camber on the track. Ready? One more. Oh. I think that lapped rider, he was trying to...
Yeah. He's got to restart the engine, and luckily enough, he does it quickly. Well, at the bottom of the hill, Tortelli, he was running in third. He went down. He's already been passed by Ferry, Lusk, and Dowd. So with less than a half lap remaining in the race, Sebastian Tortelli drops all the way from 3rd to 6th place. And meanwhile, his fellow Frenchman right here, David VillaMin, is coasting toward the checkered flag, puts the fist in the air, cruises over the finish line. The checkers for David VillaMin. The victory here in the second moto gives him the overall. Kevin Windham second in the moto. Ferry, Lusk, Dowd all moving up in front of Tortelli. What a development on the last lap for Tortelli. Let's go to Davey.
Well, David, you won last week when it was 100 degrees out in California. You come here this week in the mud and rain. You proved that you can do it again.
Yeah, I did a great race in first heat, and I crashed on the start and come back third. So I was confident for this moto, and I start like 5th or 6th, and I just had like a couple laps to take the good timing because the track changed a lot with the big routes, and after that I could pass my other rider, and Kevin crashed in front of me, so I could pass him, and after that I put away, and I'm so happy to win here again.
Which win was tougher, the one in the heat last week or the one here in the rain?
I think it was the one last week with Sebastian in second moto was pretty tough, and I think I looked easy in second moto when I won, but it was a tough race with a lot of big ruts, and lappers were very difficult to pass also. And I think it's a good race. My Yamaha was really great, and we changed a lot of parts for the mud, and it was good, and so I'm so happy for the team also.
With this overall victory, David VillaMin has captured the momentum away from Ricky Carmichael. Also on the podium, Kevin Windham and John Dowd. Let's go back to that victory podium and Davey Coombs.
Well, Kevin, you had the lead early, but what happened?
I lost my front end going into one of these turns up here, and just one of those races. I made one real big mistake all day today, and I think for an hour and 10 minutes of racing or whatever we went, that's pretty good considering the track conditions. I was lucky to be able to keep it going, and made a couple mistakes. Just that was the only one that really bit me hard, and I lost some positions. But I'm really happy to come out here with a second overall.
Which moto was tougher, the first moto or the second moto?
I think by far the second. The track has gotten a lot slicker. It's kind of hitting hitting some hard surface, and that rain in between motos kind of hit on it and made it pretty greasy. But like I said, it was brutal out there, and I'm just happy I can make it through.
With Carmichael having a pretty bad day, it really changes the point structure. Now you, VillaMin, and Tortelli appear to have all caught him.
Yeah, he's had 2 bad motos today, and you know, he's gonna come back. He's gonna ride good, but you know, hopefully I can just keep pushing on. I feel like I'm riding great, no matter if it's wet, dry, or hot, or whatever. So I just want to keep my momentum going, and it's gonna be a long season. I think it's gonna be pretty exciting, and there's a lot of guys building confidence right now, and it's gonna be exciting towards the end.
Exciting, that's a pretty good word, it looks like. And going into today's race, Ricky Carmichael, as you see here, had a 9-point advantage over Sebastian Tortelli. Coming out of today's action, it goes to a 14-point deficit for Ricky Carmichael. David VillaMin takes over the points lead, but it is still very, very close. He only has a 3-point advantage on Windham, an 8-point advantage on Tortelli, and 14 over Ricky Carmichael, David.
Well, we talked about big changes in the mud. We saw those changes today. Pastrana picks up his first win. He's building some momentum. Only lost 4 points to Steve Lamson. In the 250 class, the top 5 guys believe they're going to win this championship. It's going to get good.
Number 16 takes the checkered flag. John Dowd wins a moto today before going to Southwick, where he is very hard to beat. Art Ekman, David Bailey, Davey Coombs, thanking you for being with us from Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Part of the Go Network, go.com.
RPM Tonight, next.
Going green, this time 5. Going green, this time 5. Bring them down.
Hello, everyone. I'm John Kernan. Welcome to RPM Tonight. It's been no secret that over the last 5 years, interest in the Kart FedEx Championship Series has waned as the TV audience gets smaller and smaller. In fact, since 1995, the television audience for Champ Car races has shrank by more than 50% on ABC, while the races on ESPN have seen about a 40% decline in viewership. On Friday, Chairman of the Board and CEO Andrew Craig resigned. Team owner and former series champ Bobby Rahal has been named the interim president and CEO, while Jim Hardiman has been named chairman. Craig